Hi YouTube! Today I wanted to compare Hobonichi Cousin versus the A5 Full Ear Sterling Ink Common Planner. So I know a lot of people and a lot of YouTubers already did a comparison, but I want to compare everything that is different between them, not just go over each of their layouts. So starting from the cover, Hobonichi has only one color option versus Sterling Ink has 4 different color options. I just chose Onyx, which is kind of like the black color with white edge. Sterling Ink also lets you choose the color of the edge, while Hobonichi you really don't get a choice. So if you want different and pretty colored cover choices, I think Sterling Ink wins on that one. And also the texture. Common Planner has this very like a fake leathery texture, and Hobonichi is just like a smooth paper texture. I feel like if you want to be a little in a professional setting, Sterling Ink wins. If you don't care if it's just your personal planner, I think either or really doesn't matter. But I feel like, I don't know what it is. It's just this cover just gives you more professional feel to it. I don't know if it's because it's black, I don't know if it's because of the texture, but to me it just does. If you don't care, that's fine also. Oh, also another thing about cover, I love how Sterling Ink, you can really bend it however you want. It's not gonna break the spine or the cover. Hobonichi Weeks is also pretty flexible, but not as much. So I feel like this is like all I can bend without really overdoing it. So if you like that rigidness of a cover, then I think Hobonichi Cousin will be a better fit. If you really love this bendiness, then you would love Sterling Ink. So going inside, Hobonichi stays open right away, like this. I haven't started using on this at all, and it just stays open completely fine. I think that with Sterling Ink, you do have to break in a little bit. So if in the middle of the page, it's fine. But towards like the beginning, it does that. Especially like if you're writing on the monthlies, it will close on itself. So I think this you do need some breaking in to do. But Hobonichi, right away, if you're writing here, oh, maybe not. when I was doing it on my own, it stayed open. Yeah, like this. It just stays open like that. I think Common Planner, you do need to like break in a little bit. So looking in, I said the same thing about the weeks and N2, but Hobonichi gives you this year, last year, and next year. Common Planner doesn't. It only gives you this year. So for me, especially if I'm using this as my work planner, I do need to look into next year quite a bit. So I would prefer the Hobonichi. So it depends on what you need. It might be different. Then Hobonichi gives you this yearly overview and over the 2 pages. Common Planner gives you the goal breakdown and then quarterly breakdowns. So it's kind of, this section is kind of similar to the Hobonichi, but it gives you extra goal planning. So that's the priorities, January, February, and March. So you can kind of think of it as the Hobonichi yearly overview spread out as a quarter, plus the goal planning aspect, which I'm not sure if I will use, to be honest, because I don't really goal plan too much. And both of the monthlies do start from December. And taking a look at it, see, this is why again I think Sterling Ink has a lot more professional look into it, because everything is just monotone versus Hobonichi has a bunch of colors mixed in. Even the title is color versus Sterling Ink. I think the box sizes are pretty similar. Oh, actually no, Hobonichi is a little bit longer versus the width. The width looks the same, but the boxes, Hobonichi seems a little bit longer. Not too much that it makes a huge difference, but it does look slightly longer, and the fonts are definitely much bigger in Hobonichi. And I think it's because I bought the English version. I think the Japanese version fonts are much smaller. And then it has this random dot here, which I have no idea what that is supposed to be. Is that like full moon? I'm not sure. I think that's the full moon. And then going to a weekly. So let me go to the same weeklies. So again, Hobonichi and Sterling Ink both gives you this calendar and telling you where in the week you are. And then it gives you a note section. So difference, I think Sterling Ink made a change this year. So they have a line and the numbers are right on the line that divides each day. Hobonichi has a line and then the numbers are on the second box of it. For me, either of those formats don't really matter because I'm not gonna be using it as a time blocking. I'm just gonna be ignoring all the timelines and just write checkboxes. So I will write checkbox here versus here. It really doesn't make a difference to me. But I know for people who want to time block, they use this section to do time block. So some people say that it's annoying that they don't have that section anymore. Some people like it because it's more seamless. And actually another thing that I prefer the Hobonichi over Sterling Ink, I'm so sorry, is that Hobonichi gives you full 24 hours. In Sterling Ink, it starts at 6 a.m. and ends at 12 a.m. But I don't go to bed at 12 a.m. I'm awake usually until like 1 or 2 a.m. which isn't healthy, don't do that. But I do like to time track when I'm sleeping. So the fact that it ends in 12 means I would have to make 1 and 2 down below, which there is a room for it, you can do it. It's just that doing it every single day, I feel like would kind of get annoying. So in that sense, I do prefer that Hobonichi gives you the full 24 hours in case I do want to time block. Other than that, okay, so on Hobonichi weeks, it does not give you months, but on Sterling Ink, sorry, it's kind of, I'm just trying to put them in frame as best as I can. But Sterling Ink, it gives you what month it is. So if you want to put a tab here, you can do that. Hobonichi does not give you that for the weekly spread. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for the weekly. So let's look at dailies. Oh, yeah, the biggest difference between the dailies. So Hobonichi has you dated dailies, Sterling Ink does not. And Sterling Ink, it gives you marks to divide the pages in half. Hobonichi does not do that, but it kind of does section off for you. So it has this time blocking aspect here, and then there's that line, invisible line going down here, so you can start your priorities maybe here, to-dos here, and maybe here you can use it as a journaling section. So Hobonichi does not give you where to divide the sections, but it does have that suggested sections and gives you code, which Sterling Ink does not. And it also tells you what day of the week you're in also. And then, oh, this is, I know a lot of people hate it, but Hobonichi dailies are also different colors. I used Avec this year, and honestly, I genuinely did not mind. But I know a lot of people hate it. So I did want to compare Hobonichi notes section. So Hobonichi notes section is just blank grid that goes from top to bottom. Sterling, of course, there is this little white outline. And then Hobonichi, there's not that much notes section. There's like 5 pages. And then it gives you these extra pages, which I kind of hope that they would just left it as blank grid pages. Because some of them like are cool, like interview with myself. It is cool, but I don't need to have it. Like I wouldn't miss it if I didn't have it. And also like sweets to make at home. I love baking, but again, I would not miss it if this page wasn't here. So I would have rather had maybe like 2 or 3 more pages of grid pages rather than certain pages in the back. And Sterling Ink, after the note pages, it's just, there's nothing. So after the last note page, it's just common ink. And that's that. Okay, so I went through all the insides and outside comparison of Cousin versus Common Planner, and my overall thought, again, if you're using this as like in a more professional setting, I would prefer the Common Planner just because of its sleek look, and it gives you a very monotone look. And even the note pages, you have plenty of spaces to write your notes to your heart's content. Cousin, really, if you are using the daily notes, you only have really one page that you can take notes on. Unless you don't mind ignoring the dates, then you would just rather use Common Planner. But if you're just using for like a personal thing, I have to say I prefer Hobonichi, because I know a lot of people hate it, but the boxes are much more clear for me to see versus the Sterling ink is so light that it blends in almost too well to the background. So I like how this pops up a little bit. And a lot of the color things I do not really mind anyways. I just wish the Hobonichi had a lot more notes section. So if you need a lot of notes, I would say use Common Planner. If you want to do more daily task, daily small journaling, Cousin is way to go for you. And I didn't compare the sizes. Actually, they're both A5, so you would think they're the same size. But I realized they're not. So if you look here, let me put it. Do you see this? Cousin is slightly like a millimeter wider. So if I put it down like this, you can kind of see Hobonichi sticking a little bit. I lined up the back completely. So you see Hobonichi sticking out a little bit. So they're not exactly the same size. But I don't think that gives you like any extra room. But I'm just saying. And I think to me it looks like Common Planner is thicker. Okay, I just compared the spines. I think they are about the same thickness. It's just that the Common Planner cover is a lot like flimsier, so it looks more chunky. So that was my review / comparison of Cousin versus the Common Planner. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week. Bye!